Hello, I'm Ian Mason. I'm a partner at the law firm Gowling WLG, and I head up the financial services regulatory team. I'm also the joint financial services sector leader. So, in terms of what makes City Week such an important event, I think it's a number of things. I think particularly the quality of the speakers. There are a number of internationally recognised speakers, and also particularly speakers from the regulators such as the FCA and European regulators and European authorities. So I think delegates are always keen to hear directly from the horse's mouth, to hear what the regulators and authorities have got to say. And also, particularly, I think this year there was very much a global perspective with people coming not just from the UK but also from Europe and overseas as well. So I think the quality of the speakers is very important. It's also a very big conference. Of course, it was virtual this year, but I understand there were over 700 people attending virtually. So it's a great platform as well to communicate key messages and to promote those things which are important. So I was, in terms of the session that I was speaking on, I was moderating the session on the global battle against financial crime. My background is as a former regulator at the FCA stroke FSA. I was head of enforcement there, and I was responsible for prosecuting financial crime and money laundering cases. On this side of the fence, I represent clients on the defence side. So it was a very, financial crime is a very important subject. It's very important to pretty much all regulated firms. And one of the questions and areas we talked about at the seminar was about the impact of COVID, because obviously COVID creates new global risks and global financial crime risks, and what the regulators' expectations are of firms tackling those risks was important. And we also heard on the panel about how technology is being used by financial criminals, but is also being used as well by regulators and other authorities to tackle financial crime more effectively. So IT and technology is becoming more important in the battle against financial crime. We also heard that it was very important, it's the job not just of regulators and authorities to tackle financial crime, but also firms as well. So regulators are looking very much for a public-private partnership for collaboration and cooperation and exchanging information. So I think all of those topics came out very clearly from the panel session. Well, I think in terms of the quality and range of speakers, City Week always attracts a number of good quality speakers. So, for example, we had the acting chief executive of the FCA. We had a number of government ministers, the city minister, and also a trade minister. So I think the range of speakers is very good, and also not just speakers from the UK, but also speakers globally. And there were a really broad range of subjects covered as well. So, for example, environmental and social factors, ESG, there were a number of sessions on that. So that was very important. So I think not just the speakers, but the subjects covered, the hot topics, I think would have been very relevant to the audience. In terms of which topics I'd like to see discussed at future events, obviously projecting a year forward for City Week, the world is very much an evolving place at the moment. So I'm hopeful that we will have got through the worst of COVID by that time. I think it will be interesting to hear in a year's time how firms have responded to COVID, what lessons have been learned, what the challenges have been, and you know, how can we learn from that? I think also, of course, the UK will have fully got through Brexit. So it'll be interesting to hear how firms have adapted to Brexit and projecting things a year forward, which of course will happen at the beginning of next year. So as well as other topics like money laundering and market abuse. And the FCA, the UK regulator, is also trying to evolve and change how it regulates firms in its own operating model. So I think all of those things will be interesting to hear about in a year's time.